Hi, welcome or welcome back. My name is Yu Oying. You can call me Yu Win or Win, and I'm happy that we have this time together whenever and wherever you are joining. And so I like to begin each video sharing a practice that you may consider for your own path and your own journey. And this one comes from Dr. Kristin Neff and all of her work on self compassion. And this is her very short self compassion break. And so, whatever you need to do to come into a comfortable posture, perhaps pausing or stopping whatever you're doing and taking centering and supportive breaths, finding a posture that's comfortable, whether seated, standing, laying down. And then you bring to mind a difficult situation, something that could be causing you stress. And, you don't want to pick something that's too activating, but just something that, maybe is on your mind. Maybe you're going into a meeting and you want to just give a quick moment for something that had happened earlier. Maybe you just had an argument with a loved one and now you have to go and show up at a holiday party. So, finding that center and then bringing it to mind, you just think to yourself or say to yourself, this is a moment of suffering, and this is to capture the mindfulness component of self compassion. Other alternatives can include, ouch, this hurts, this is stressful, and that's it. The second part is to bring to mind that suffering is a part of life. It is a part of being human. And suffering or the shared humanity is the second component of self compassion. If that statement doesn't align or doesn't resonate with you, you might think or offer yourself, other people feel this way. I'm not alone. Everyone struggles in their lives. And at this point, you might explore placing one or two hands over your heart. You might take a moment to feel the pressure or the warmth from your hands, or to find any soothing touch that might be supportive. Even, maybe rubbing your arms. And then the third part of the self compassion break is self kindness. And so you might think to yourself, may I be kind to myself? You really want to sort of just ask yourself, what do I need to hear at this point to offer myself kindness? So, other phrases that might be helpful could be, may I give myself the compassion that I need? May I accept myself as I am in this moment? May I forgive myself? May I be patient or strong or loving? And so you go through those three components, just identifying, being mindful of a situation, offering yourself the reminder that people go through what you're going through or feel what you feel, struggle. And then the last piece is to offer yourself words of kindness. And you can practice this day or night, depending on if you're listening to a guided version or having someone like read the script to you. This can take up to 5 minutes, it can be shorter, but just another consideration for your toolbox. So, with that, I wanted to talk a little bit about sort of the things that challenge connection. So I went to a lunch today, and one of the topics of conversation was around how timing in multiple ways um, makes it difficult for people to connect. And in the context we were talking about dating um, or like relationships. And so somebody had brought up the idea, around some of the conversations they have had where it can feel like too much work to sort of like change schedules or preferences to accommodate someone new in their lives. And I think in the way that a significant other can sort of fill someone's days or schedule or routine. And so just this idea that it's like inconvenient for people to, like this is my daily schedule. These are like the preferences and habits that I have. Um, the idea of changing for someone else seemed to be an obstacle. So someone else mentioned, depending on age and the timing of meeting and possibly, considering dating and being in a relationship, um, the the numbers show that when you reach a certain age, it becomes more difficult, and people are less likely to get married after a certain age. So that kind of timing. And then we're also talking about like being alive at this point in history with like modern day conveniences. Um, and it does seem like a lot of people value convenience over other things. So, like for example, um, people don't want to be inconvenienced or they don't want to cause other people inconvenience. Uh, I mean, even the idea of like how convenient it is to pay for subscriptions to get things like the same day, even if you don't need things the same day, but you can. And so the inconvenience of going out and like shopping as opposed to ordering something online, um, the inconvenience of calling or reaching out to someone, if your schedule is a certain way and you're tired and you don't want to, you know, make or you don't have the energy to make time to connect. And so I was listening to this and I just felt really disheartened. Um, and I know that it's not everyone, but for me, it just was a reminder of why we lack community, why we lack connection, and thus, why we're feeling isolated, why we're feeling lonely. That epidemic of loneliness. And, I got to reflect a little bit on my own like personal practices and some of the things that I do. And I'm not one who often feels loneliness or experiences loneliness. I think I do, there's a lot of solitude and I need to no, I need to carve that out of my schedule because I'm around people and connected to people. So I need time to refuel. I need time to center. I need time to pause. But I am someone who will pick up the phone. I'm more likely to text. There's a whole thing about calling, but I do like scheduling phone calls with people. I know to be prepared, like emotionally, mentally for those and like socially. Um, but it was just really fascinating to hear the conversation and then to understand why people don't engage. Um, And I think that the comfort levels and the comfort zones that people have created, especially, after something as big as like confronting mortality with COVID pandemic, or um, is still leaving us with a lot of consequences that we probably aren't even connecting to it. Um, but the remote work can be isolating. People, many people can go through the day without having like in person contact, especially if they live alone or they live with roommates who maybe are not close to them. And so it left me thinking, it left me pondering, left me feeling a bit sad. And also it left me feeling really grateful for the connections that I have and the time that my loved ones and I have carved out for each other. So thank you if you are one of the people in my world who reaches out, who schedules phone calls with me, who schedule trips or meetings. Yeah, just feeling very grateful for my community, even if we are at a distance. We have found a way, I think, to stay connected. And even if those connections happen virtually, they are sustainable for me. And so I'm just, curious in ways moving forward as I have begun a new opportunity, connecting with an organization and the people. So I'll be curious to see the obstacles that we have to overcome in order to bring people together or to connect people even virtually. I am curious to see, how that will play out. Curious to see what people will respond to, what, might help support, what will help bridge. And so I think that's why I keep getting information from the universe about how to build community, how to build a village. Um, so if you have any ideas, if you have practices or strategies that have supported you, I'd love to hear about them. I think as technology increases and separates us more, I feel like it's really important for us to find ways to bridge those gaps, um, and stay connected, even if it does bring about some inconvenience. So, just my opinion. And I do look forward to hearing about any ideas or resources that you may have. So, please feel free to share those with me. So, I thank you for coming together, um, and spending some time with me. I hope that in me sharing and talking about things, maybe things that you think about, but you are not able to talk to others about, um, that there's some sense of community or connection, or at least, that you're not alone in some of the ideas or the thoughts that you have. I think that's one of the really beautiful things about social media is to find others and to hear other voices thinking things that you think that maybe you can't talk to other people about yet. I hope that it invites some curiosity or is a catalyst for you to find ways to reach out and connect. I do hope that you have people, spaces, organizations, communities where you feel like you can express yourself and feel heard and feel seen. And I do appreciate you coming along for my journey here. So I'll bid you adieu here. And I hope that you know, or that you will soon come to believe that who you are, as you truly are, is deserving and worthy of unconditional love. I look forward to connecting with you next time. And until then, please take good care. Okay, bye bye.